Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to week 5 beginning on May 15th, and this is about the process of being able to witness the timelines of your choices. Oh my god. So what is this all about? So we're going to kind of reprogram like impulsiveness and being blind to the causality of things and this inability to kind of contemplate and being like a repetitive robot. This week is going to also really encourage each and every one of us to kind of find the knowledge of the universe beyond what our senses can perceive as much as we can, because we can get access to purify anything that blocks us from understanding that chain of cause and effect, so that we can kind of see beyond the illusions and make choices that are going to be beneficial. Now, it's these are not about being like fortune telling or anything like this. I'd be the first person to admit that I'm not a fortune teller. There is just foundational laws of causality that kind of creates timelines. Every choice creates a consequence or a creation of action reaction that kind of governs all aspects of reality. So this idea of randomness is entirely dismissed throughout the week, and we're becoming a little bit more aware of this causing that and what's all this all about. So it's about highlighting that everything is predetermined based on our choices and our actions. And yes, there is a fate, but the good news is that we can transcend it because there's also a destiny. So we transcend it by taking responsibility for our actions, planting positive seeds that can kind of allow us to be in more control and move towards empowerment, stepping away from the reactive behavior that leads us to negative outcomes, pain, suffering. So it's very crucial to understand this, just as an overview of what we're going to be facing, the impact of our actions, so that we can make conscious choices. Now, working with these images and this week can really awaken our clairvoyant ability as well. Let me just make sure everything is good here. Yeah, it can awaken our clairvoyant ability and give us the foresight to kind of make different choices and live a self-responsible lifestyle. And this will lead us to improved outcomes in every single area of our life, including financial, emotional, relationship, career, everything. Because dishonesty, selfishness, darkness, they are not sustainable way of sustaining joy in our life. So we need to kind of seek that harmony and that kindness to make these long-term investments in our lives, because otherwise, if we put in nothing, that's exactly what we're going to get. So just to kind of expand on what I said, we want to see beyond those 5 senses and be able to really understand the reality that's beneath the illusion. And we need the clairvoyance to do that. And when we lack the clairvoyance, we kind of live under that illusion that things are random. And it's impossible for things to be random, because we can jump realities, which is sometimes what happens, all like when we're making the choices. This is actually always happening, but the reality still exists. So we could go back into it, God forbid, or we can, it'll be there, if we stepped out of it, because there's these different timelines that we have to keep in mind. So if we really want to change something, we have to jump into another timeline. So it's like changing lanes. Now, this could be that you need to deal with the timeline that you're working with, because it could be that something is attached to it and it's kind of holding you prison there. Or it could be on another level that you make a huge change, huge change, and there are ways to do it, and you kind of quantum leap far away from that timeline that you're in, and it's like then you find yourself waking up in an entirely different reality. So things that appear random are kind of like things that are popping up in that timeline, or maybe like the timelines are kind of like intersecting a little bit, or it's a sign that you are moving. Like, think of Everything Everywhere All at Once. That movie's amazing, where she's trying to find her alpha version of herself. I mean, it's a really phenomenal movie. I think I would recommend watching it in this week, because it's completely showing you what's going on. It won all these awards, which I think is great, because It's just probably one of the best movies ever made. Um, and so I think it's like taking responsibility for your actions will help you to find your alpha self so that you can become responsible for your past, present, and your future. And then you're being rewarded more than any kind of ego could ever promise you. You're going to be getting so much good energy from that as you're taking kind of the responsibility, because when you take responsibility for your timeline, you say that I'm in control of my life. I'm the master of my reality. But when you blame, you get some it's like you get high for a moment, but then you become the victim and you become dependent on that energy of blame because it's extremely addictive. So this can help us to overcome addictions. This can help us to overcome bad habits where we're just getting like this short circuit energy, but not really like this long sustaining energy that can make us powerful and like these intense generators of manifestation. So when we're planting these seeds and we're saying that we are the master of the life, um, we're getting supported, and that is moving into every area of our life. And rather than becoming like a knowing better, we step into knowing all. Do you want to know better or do you want to know all? And when we know better, we stay in the drama. So that's part of what this kind of dimension is teaching us, especially as we're improving our relationships and we're working towards getting closer to that energy of Gemini. And we need that clairvoyance beyond normal vision. Like we see things coming, we see things happening, we know what to do, we know what we need to do. And then we need to have the proper attitude to be able to fulfill that. And that is once again with the self-responsibility. When we are blaming, we're planting reactive seeds, and that's going to come back and block us, and then we have to deal with it later, which is amazing because thank God we can deal with it. Not everybody can, but we can. So that's why we need like the perseverance from last week to be able to deal with whatever's popping up now, and not be by being reactive, by saying, no, I can take care of this. And the only way that we can be stopped is by, giving up and us stopping ourselves and getting discouraged and going back into the blame cycle circuit thing, and then we short circuit, and it's like it's nasty. It's nasty. If you've ever been in it, you know what it's like. It's not generating real energy, okay? And at the same time, it's like you don't want to go into like this ego blindness, like where we're thinking we're all holy and we're better than everybody else because like we're on this path and we understand it. No, that's also a block. We want to be humble. We want to take responsibility without the blame, without the pride. We want to do it with empowerment because then we'll be supported, we'll be prosperous, we're making smart investments. We're not like trying to cheat our way out of things. We're not trying to be like a smart guy with this, okay? It's really interesting because if kind of cheating others was a good way to get fulfillment, okay, the sages would be doing it, but it's they would be the masters of that. It would have been the way to do it. But the fact of the matter is that being selfish and dishonest is not going to deliver anything. Not because of a morality issue, but because of like the way that the universe is structured. When you are selfish, look at the Dalai Lama, so many people have said being selfless is like the most, self-persevering thing you can do, because the way the structure of reality is set up is that when you're being selfish, you're going to short circuit within the laws of the natural world, okay? We do not want to try to gain from others, at an expense to them or a cost. It's that short-circuiting energy that's just going to make everything crumble. We want to be sustaining. We want to be building. We want to really get a return of our investment that might take a plan. Of course, we might experience pain, but it'll be like the way that's honest. We don't want to do bad business with the universe. We want to do good business. because doing bad business is like, maybe we get it right away, but like, it's a stupid gamble. It's a very stupid gamble because it's going to short circuit. It's going to blow up in your face. And if someone's done it to you, just know it's not your business. That's theirs, and move on. And trust me, I have lost a lot of money, a lot of time doing business with bad people. And don't worry. If you have this attitude, you will find the next best thing, I promise. So we want to be kind so that we can make these long-term investments and not be ending up with emptiness and nothingness. This dimension, you guys, is going to connect us, to the light within these dark times that we're living through. Okay, we're going through these dark times. We all know it. But that doesn't mean we have to settle for less. That doesn't mean that there's not enough. That doesn't mean there's abundance, because the truth of the matter is that there's so much magic. There's so much there available for us. There's so much abundance. Yes, there's darkness, but trust me, there is so much light there as well. So let's have a wonderful week, and let's now go ahead and have a look to integrate this energy. Let's look at the wands here, and we're going to reprogram this kind of rushing, reactive adrenaline, that comes with being frantic and selfish. We're going to reprogram that into tapping into the flow of life so that we have clear communication and direct divine instructions in the form of offerings and new understandings and also spiritual expansions. And then looking in the mental realm with the swords, we're going to be reprogramming our blindness and the assumptions and the presumptions and the isolation and loneliness that comes from being blind. We were going to reprogram that with the ability to open our eyes, our spiritual eyes, to see where the payoff is for our spiritual practice and our spiritual work, rather than like being a do-gooder or being selfish or being an egomaniac. We do not want to be diluted and confused. We want to gain understanding of cause and effect in our choices and know that there are no hopeless situations if we find the gaps between our thoughts. Beautiful. In the emotional realm, with the with the cups, we want to reprogram our abandonment issues, our alienation, our dissatisfaction, and our emotional disturbance, like in any kind of fear of causing pain that becomes an excuse to not take responsibility. All these patterns and disinterest, we want to reprogram that with our ability to kind of reach the mountain of achievement, to contemplate, to withdraw, to find ourselves healing and regenerating and being able to see tomorrow now, be able to see the choices, the consequences, the creations of our choices, to see them now. Beautiful. As we're abandoned, rather than being abandoned, we abandon our 5 senses that are addicted to the illusion of desire, neutrality, and rejection. And finally, in the material, in the coins here, we're reprogramming our repetitive robotic mind that gets bored and that's greedy and that's working too hard and that's stuck and it's working for the money and it wants the ambition and it's victimized by the work and it's cutting corners and it's being like a con artist a little bit, and all this laziness that comes, like not really doing the work. We're going to reprogram that with understanding, knowing that things are a work in progress, that we work hard and we pay attention to the details, and knowing that if we want to really learn how things are working and why they are working that way, all we have to do is really put in our best effort for extraordinary understanding, and if we put in extraordinary effort, we get extraordinary results. So working with that and working really for yourself and for others and doing a good job, because that is the way of doing it. And that's what we're doing by tapping into those coins. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful week as you witness the timelines of your choices. Have a wonderful time. Thank you. Bye-bye.